So the losing streak gimmick, what was like the pitch for that?
There was no
What were
pitch.
like you just kept the train going.
No, what really happened, I mean, man, they brought me back in 2016. I'll never forget. Road Dogg called me and was like, I personally want you on the SmackDown roster, and then he had big plans for me, and then it just like absolutely never happened for whatever reason. I still don't know to this day.
Yeah.
I think I beat Apollo Crews once, and then I just never won again. And I'd been in WWE already, so like I knew how the place worked, and I was just, I go out there and do whatever's asked of me to the best of my abilities. That's just always, like I said, it's not real. I don't take it personally that I'm putting someone over or whatever. Would I like to win? Of course, we all would, but I'm just going to do my job to the best of my abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, I want to say I was on the road, and I kept getting tweeted this like article with fans like commenting, and I'm like, what? And it was some dirt sheet wrote article that I had lost 100 matches in a row. But like, instead of like being all sad about it, I'm like, well, that's definitely true. Okay. And then I was pitching to the writers like this losing streak, yada yada yada. Like whoever would listen, think it's cool, whatever. And I'd probably surprised if somebody was. Not many people in wrestling, willingly want to lose all the time. But I had the foresight to see that maybe there's something there. And then I'll never forget one day at Barclays, this writer comes out of the writer room. He goes, "Today's your day, Hawkins. You're going to beat Heath Slater on main event." And I'm like, yo, people aren't even going to remember that by the time they leave this building, much less like I said, I'd rather like just keep this losing streak thing going and see where it goes. And they were like, you sure? I said, it was Vince who said in the meeting, like, let's give Hawkins one in his hometown. I said, if I just ask you this, is Vince the only one, a part of this, creative team that doesn't know about the streak? And they were like, that's probably a safe bet. I was like, can we at least like tell him and see if he cares? And then once it was in his brain, then that was it. Then it was never discussed again. It was just a thing. And we have talks about it, like where I pitch stuff, I showed him the t-shirt that was like a good seller. He loved that, like things like that. And there was at one point in Raw, there was a countdown clock thing that me and Vince came up with, so I just like, would we all love to be Roman Reigns? Yes, but there's only so many spots like that on the show. We're not all Zach Morris. Sometimes we got to be hanging out at the cafe in the background, and that's fine. I'm still part of the team, and I'm still part of the show. And I never made more money, had more fun. Like it was incredible, actually. And then the crowd organically turned me babyface, which is something I never even thought was possible. People started to feel bad for me. There was real sympathy, and they would be at these. We'd be at these live events in Bumblefuck, and people would be going nuts cheering for me because they wanted just to be a part of it, to be like, hey, I was there when he won. It was pretty amazing.
No, I mean, I remember calling some of those matches and like discussing that stuff. And it really was. It's cool when something organic like that can just happen and you get behind it and you make something of it,
To be fair, did I think it was going to go 269? No, but
actually pretty impressive.
That's wild.
To hang your hat on.
Yeah, I know. Did I think it was going to 269 losses? No, but it was all worth it. And I used to never envision like people used to be like, how do you want this to end? And I was like, I don't want to think about that because it's so much easier for me to come into work and be like, what's your finish? I'll take it to the best I can. There's almost no politics in wrestling for me. It was like really great time. And if I just kept daydreaming about winning and how it would end, it wouldn't be as fun. And then without me doing that, and I don't know how this happened, but it ended in the best way imaginable. Like I could have never written that up. Like, oh no, win the tag team titles with your best friend in your hometown building, like at WrestleMania. Like,
how crazy. So talk to me about like that moment for you and Matt to be able to have that moment against FTR Revival at the time. To be able to have that moment. I mean, that's like the career, not a career defining moment, but everybody wants their Mania moment. And sounds like you had like a pretty perfect one.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's like a storybook thing that I couldn't have written if you asked me to write down like how to do it. Right. It just kind of fell into our lap. And to be honest, I think it's two things. I think FTR asked to defend the tag titles. I think that was important to them as the tag team champions to represent them on the show. And then at the same time, Matt and I had an idea about like incorporating the losing streak stuff into the Andre Battle Royal, which we just completely assumed we were in, right?
Yeah.
Like we just assumed. We had no idea that year there was like some SNL involvement.
Oh God, that's right.
And we had no clue.
Yeah.
But so we had planned to see Vince. Someone smartened us up to the SNL thing. So now like our wind is like out of our sails, and we know like what we want to do is not going to work because it's just not what the match is focused on.
Mhm.
So we waited, talked to Vince. This is like the TV before the go home TV. So we're talking like, less than 2 weeks out from WrestleMania. And we gave a very, well, hold on. There's one more piece of the story. Before we go in, there's this really weird thing where Carrano was asking people what they're wearing at Mania, and we had to submit them. And I was super pumped about my gear because it was Jets themed stuff in the New York Jets building. And I'll never forget, Broski goes, man, you shouldn't have sent him that. I'm like, why? Because nothing good's gonna come. I'm like, I go, dude, there's no way anyone in this company cares what Kurt Hawkins is wearing at WrestleMania. That's the least of anyone's worries. And that day we're talking to Vince, we came in and Carrano goes, oh, Vince said you can't wear that. I'm thinking, I'm just, to this day, I'm speechless, going like, why would he care?
Did they give you a reason why?
I'll keep going.
Okay.
So now I know. So now we're going to see Vince. Our pitch is dead, but I'm like, I don't even care about this pitch. I got to ask him like about my gear because no one's making Jabron Kurt Hawkins new gear less than 2 weeks before Mania. I already paid for that. Like this is a one-time wear for the building that we're in. Like who gives a shit? So Broski takes the lead on the pitch and it's very half-winded and we know this is like pointless. And he literally said, oh, great, but we already have something in mind for that. And I said, Vince, one more thing. I heard you don't like my gear or whatever. And then he's like, yeah. And I was like, is it okay? Like, do you know the significance of it? He goes, let me guess. The New York Jets. And I'm shocked that he like even made that correlation. And I go, yeah. And then I just like, I don't know if it like fired me up that we were like getting this back and forth. And then I was like, yeah, WWE's biggest underdog and NFL's biggest underdog in this, in their building, blah, blah, blah. And I like gave him a very compassionate plea as to why I should wear this stuff. And he was like, oh, God damn it, Hawkins, just wear it. And he smacked me on the back. And I went, yeah. I like fired up. And we had this like, Broski's just watching this whole thing, just like, what the fuck is going on? And like I left feeling great that I won that talk, but unbeknownst to me, I think that just got his wheels spinning about this match that we were never going to have, that he made. I think that plea got his wheels spinning and he changed everything to make the match with less than, 10 days to go, whatever it was.
So funny.